Mr. Seveny, I see that
Well,
you...
yeah, I would like to, I mean, I understand you want to move it along, and that's fine, but some discussion, at least some recognition. Yeah, you know, in past practice, there has been discussion, and there certainly has been recognition of things like the following. There is a person on this list, Terry Corcoran, who did take the trouble to actually run for this office and garner a large number of votes, approaching 1,500. Not bad in any election, but certainly in a write-in. I think pretty indicative of what the public wanted. So as Mrs. Gleason started off with taking the politics out of this and all that, there's no real politics in an election. It's just people trying to use the process to explain what it is they want. And I think that was done in the last election. And I think some recognition of that in the voting process ought to have taken place. There was no discussion on anybody else. I mean, at least an acknowledgement of the other people on the list, I think would have been at least a decent thing to do. So I'll take the moment now to thank Mr. Corcoran, Mr. Douglas, Mr. Shears, and Mr. Robleski for putting letters in to apply. The fact that no discussion really took place here, I think, is curious. This, to me, would have driven some discussion, and there wasn't now. I don't know why that is. So to be sort of herded into a quick vote like this on something that's important, I think is curious at best, and not really executing the town's business properly at worst. So at that point, I'm going to at least recite some of the qualifications that I see in the candidate that I believe should be selected to this office, because she did actually run for the office. After losing in the election, she continued to stay in the process, going to the meetings, being a part of the process, and showing a commitment which I think is not often seen in this town or any town. She lost, and she continued to show up and show her commitment and contribute. And that ought to count for something. And while I take nothing away from the other candidates, in my view, no other candidate really exhibited the kind of commitment and desire to serve this town like Mrs. Corcoran did, without even a word of acknowledgement from this council to rush into a decision like this. It's almost shocking.
I beg to differ that we rushed into a decision.
Mr. President.
Okay, that's fine.
All right, hold on. Everybody, Mr. Canario, everybody's going to get a chance to speak. Why they voted the way they voted.
For as long as I've been on this council, after a motion's been first and seconded, we've always had discussion before taking a vote. We've done that, I believe, because we had dialogue on the pros and cons of certain individuals. This is the first I've ever seen, as long as I've been involved in town government, that a vote was taken so quickly and then there was discussion. Well, once there's a vote, there's no sense of having a discussion. Now, we have a group of what I believe very good candidates, and I thank, as Mr. Seveny had mentioned, their names. I won't repeat them, but I was prepared this evening to engage in dialogue about the candidates that were before us, because this was a public office position. I'm shocked and I'm disappointed that this went so quickly with absolutely no discussion beforehand, and I'm embarrassed this took place.
I will comment on what you said. I did make a mistake. I should have had discussion before the vote, but that's the way it went down, so I apologize for that.
I don't recall anybody asking you for a discussion, but I would like to, maybe I'll finish my little paragraph that I wrote about why I chose this applicant.
Well, there's no need to have the discussion. It's already voted on.
Yes, but you both had a chance to speak. I don't have to speak.
Mr. Canary, I said that everybody...
I'm curious that nobody
I said everybody...
Well,
gets a-
I started to speak.
Wait,
engage
hold
in
on,
the
hold on,
dialogue.
wait. I said that everybody would get a chance to speak why they did what they did. Both of you explain what you're unhappy with. I'm opening it up to the other 3 council members.
So, just, may I finish? It'll take me 2 seconds. Sure. For the benefit of the audience, as to why I chose Ms. Parati. If you don't really care, just tell me, and we'll just move on. Like myself, she's unaffiliated with the political parties. And this is just my opinion, that we get too wrapped up in the political party process, okay? So I want an independent thinker, and I'm going to be a little biased here. I wanted a female as well, okay? More importantly, aside from all of that, this applicant has a lot of budgeting experience. She values education and is an educator. She's very active in the community, and she helps those that are less fortunate and those of need. That's why I chose her. She's a new face. And I seriously hope that you be very, very strong, because there's a lot of pressure being a politician in this town, just like many other towns. And I have faith in you that you're going to make the best decision, and you're not going to have anybody behind you clobbering you and telling you how to vote. Because when I was on the school committee, and I won't go there, but there was a lot of pressure. And congratulations and welcome.
Mr. President, can I be excused for 1 minute, please?
Certainly.
Thank you.
No comment. The only reason I voted for Mrs. Parati is due to her background. One of the major issues that's confronting Portsmouth right now is the fate of the Elmhurst School, and she's a parent at Elmhurst, so that gives them a voice. So that's why I voted for Ms. Parati.
I voted for Mrs. Parati for new, Keith and I are new to the council. I think a new face, a new voice over the school committee is what I wanted. I had the whole packet. I also received the emails and the phone calls. And and the 2 arguments were the argument that Mr. Seveny laid out, excellent argument, and everything he said is correct. But how I got over that argument, quite frankly, was I wanted a new face on the school committee. Keith and I are new faces, and I wanted a fresh perspective and not some of the old guard. So I wanted someone new, and this is an appointment. Yes, she ran, I understand that. She went out, she got the votes, but now it becomes an appointment. So I voted on what I thought was right for this town. And I don't vote along party lines. So, I mean, that's what I did. I did what I thought was right, and that's what it boils down to. And I've had the packet, read the packet, I've gone over the resumes, and that's how I made my decision. Based on the discussion part, a vote was called for, so I voted. But there should have maybe been a discussion. I can tell you, though, that I would not have changed my mind, if that makes anyone feel any better. That was my vote. Thank you.
I voted for specifically a new set of eyes, not the same. There's a new face, new ideas, familiar with budgets. Her background calls for, not her background, but what she worked in. She worked in budgets and contracts and different things where I'm sure there was a lot of pressure there, too, for her for contracts to make sure she spread all that money around the 50 states. But I don't have a problem with the way I voted. If I made a mistake here tonight, I apologize for it. But that's the way I would have voted anyway. And with that, let's move on to the next agenda item.